The rise of Terrifier in horror cinema marks a significant chapter in the evolution of contemporary horror films. Released in 2016, Terrifier introduced audiences to Art the Clown, a figure who quickly became a cult icon due to his unsettling presence and the film's unyielding commitment to graphic horror. This concept of rise denotes not just the film's increasing popularity, but also its impact on the horror genre, pushing boundaries and challenging conventional storytelling techniques within the genre. The significance of Terrifier lies in its ability to rejuvenate interest in slasher films by distilling horror to its raw elements, fear, gore, and suspense, without relying on CGI or high-budget effects. Its success demonstrated a renewed appetite for horror that is visceral and unrefined, a throwback to the classic horrors of the 70s and 80s. One notable example of Terrifier's impact is its growing cult following, evidenced by the demand for a sequel, Terrifier 2, which further cemented its place in modern horror folklore. The film's grassroots success, initially released with limited distribution, speaks to its powerful word-of-mouth appeal and the strength of its fan base. Additionally, Art the Clown's disturbing, silent visage has been extensively adopted in horror conventions and Halloween events, illustrating the character's unique imprint on popular culture. Critics and fans alike often laud the film for its unapologetic brutality and atmospheric tension, arguing that it revitalizes a genre that can sometimes become formulaic. However, this rawness also presents challenges. Some viewers and critics argue that Terrifier's emphasis on gore over narrative coherence undermines its storytelling, presenting a potential stumbling block for broader acceptance outside of hardcore horror aficionados. Furthermore, there are alternative viewpoints concerning the film's impact. While some view it as a necessary jolt to a stagnating genre, others see it as emblematic of a troubling trend towards excessive violence without substance. This dichotomy highlights a broader debate within the horror community about the balance between shock value and storytelling depth. Terrifier connects to the broader landscape of horror by influencing filmmakers to explore more daring narratives that prioritize character menace and practical effects. It challenges others to consider how simplicity and intensity can coexist effectively in horror storytelling. Thus, the rise of Terrifier is not just a tale of a film's success, but a reflection of the evolving desires of the horror audience, one that craves authenticity and visceral thrills. The concept of dark history and lore behind the movie Terrifier delves into the mysterious and unsettling narratives that surround the production, themes, and the impact of Damien Leone's cult horror film. Terrifier, released in 2016, is notorious for its portrayal of the sadistic clown, Art, whose gruesome acts captivate and horrify audiences. The dark history and lore involve both the film's inception and its thematic elements that tap into age-old fears and societal taboos. The significance of exploring this aspect lies in understanding how Terrifier has achieved its cult status by resonating with deep-seated anxieties and cultural fascinations with clowns. These elements are pivotal in creating a horror experience that is not only visually terrifying, but also psychologically unsettling. Unpacking these narratives enhances the appreciation of the film's artistry and its place within the horror genre. One example illustrating the film's dark lore is its connection to the age-old archetype of the evil clown, a figure that has haunted literature and culture for centuries. Characters like Stephen King's Pennywise or real-life figures such as John Wayne Gacy have imbued clowns with a sinister edge, drawing audiences who are simultaneously repelled and intrigued. Another real-world application is the film's reflection of society's fascination with extreme violence and the way it challenges viewers to confront their own boundaries of tolerance. Critics and horror enthusiasts often laud Terrifier for pushing the boundaries of horror with its unapologetic brutality, arguing that it refreshes the genre by returning it to a raw, unfiltered state. However, this aspect of the film also invites controversy, as detractors argue that its emphasis on gore often sacrifices narrative depth, thereby becoming an exercise in gratuitous violence rather than meaningful storytelling. Moreover, a challenge Terrifier faces is balancing its cult appeal with broader acceptance, as its explicit content can isolate casual viewers while enthralling genre purists. Some alternative viewpoints question whether such depictions desensitize audiences to real-world violence, sparking debates on the responsibility of filmmakers. In connecting to other aspects of dark history and lore, This concept emphasizes the film's influence on subsequent horror productions and its role in reigniting discussions on the nature of fear. By dissecting these elements, we gain insight into the lasting allure of horror films and their capacity to mirror the darkest recesses of human imagination. Thus, the exploration of Terrifier's dark history and lore is not merely an examination of a single film, but a lens through which we view the evolution of horror as a reflection of cultural and psychological landscapes. The origins of the Terrifier franchise encapsulates the genesis and development of a horror film series that has captivated a niche audience with its raw, unsettling approach to the genre. At its core, the Terrifier franchise began as a feature-length expansion of director Damien Leone's earlier work, notably the short film The Ninth Circle and the anthology All Hallows Eve. These initial projects introduced Art the Clown, a menacing and silent antagonist who would become the franchise's iconic figure. The franchise's dark history and lore are rooted in the character's evolution, drawing inspiration from traditional slasher films while infusing a gritty, almost guerrilla filmmaking style that challenges conventional horror norms. The significance of the franchise's origins lies in its bold revival of the slasher genre, which had been largely overshadowed by supernatural thrillers and found-footage horror in recent years. Art the Clown's brutal and unrelenting nature taps into a primal fear, reminiscent of genre staples like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, yet he stands apart due to his eerily silent demeanor and grotesque humor. This has breathed new life into the horror scene, offering audiences a visceral alternative to more polished Hollywood productions. One real-world example of the franchise's impact is its growing cult following, particularly after the release of the 2016 film Terrifier. Despite its low budget, the film's stark violence and nihilistic atmosphere resonated with horror enthusiasts, prompting discussions on forums and social media platforms about its boundary-pushing content. Additionally, the franchise's grassroots success has inspired aspiring filmmakers, demonstrating that passion and creativity can overcome financial limitations. While some hail the franchise for its unflinching portrayal of horror, others criticize it for excessive gore and lack of narrative depth. These controversies spark debates on whether such films desensitize viewers or provide a cathartic release, reflecting broader discussions about violence in media. Nonetheless, supporters argue that the franchise's simplicity is its strength, focusing purely on fear and suspense. The origins of the Terrifier franchise also set the stage for exploring themes of chaos and unpredictability, adding layers to the film's lore. Art the Clown's introduction has influenced horror characterization, emphasizing unpredictability and visual storytelling over dialogue. As the franchise evolves, these elements intertwine with new narrative arcs, expanding the universe and deepening the mythos surrounding its infamous antagonist, ultimately enriching the dark tapestry of horror cinema. The heading and focus refers to the dark history and lore associated with the movie Terrifier, a horror film that has garnered a cult following due to its unsettling themes and graphic portrayal of violence. This concept delves into the storytelling elements and inspirations that underpin the film's creation, providing a deeper understanding of its impact on the horror genre. The significance of exploring this aspect lies in the film's ability to evoke a visceral reaction from its audience, pushing the boundaries of conventional horror storytelling and creating a lasting cultural footprint. A key example of the dark lore in Terrifier is the character of Art the Clown, whose origins are steeped in the tradition of horror clowns like Pennywise from Stephen King's It. Art's eerie silence and malevolent nature draw from the archetype of fear-inducing clowns, amplifying the terror through his unpredictability and grotesque acts. Additionally, the film incorporates elements reminiscent of grindhouse cinema, known for its low-budget, intense exploitation films, which contributes to its raw and gritty atmosphere. Some critics and horror enthusiasts appreciate Terrifier for its unapologetic embrace of gore and suspense, seeing it as a return to form for slasher films that prioritize ambiance and character-driven horror. However, this approach has sparked controversy due to its extreme content, which some view as gratuitous and lacking narrative depth. The film's graphic nature raises questions about the ethics of showcasing explicit violence and its potential desensitizing effect on audiences. There are alternative viewpoints that highlight the possible negative impact of such films, arguing they perpetuate violent imagery without providing substantive commentary or value. The dark history and lore of Terrifier intertwine with broader themes in horror cinema, such as the exploration of primal fears and societal taboos. By examining these elements, viewers can gain insight into the film's place within the genre and its influence on contemporary horror storytelling. This connection to the broader horror landscape underscores the film's role in challenging and expanding the boundaries of horror narratives, encouraging filmmakers and audiences alike to confront the dark and the disturbing in new, thought-provoking ways.